people can get on board with Farm to School, it's really easy to see like why that is something that we should be doing. You know, feeding kids healthy food from local farmers, supporting farmers.
I've been working on Farm to School programming since 2004, first in the Traverse City region to get it off the ground, link food service directors with farmers, build local food economy, with the hopes that it would inspire state legislators.
So at the federal level, Congress passed child nutrition reauthorization, and it was called Healthy Hunger Free Kids, which meant it had to serve more fruits and vegetables. Now, those workers have to make the kids take a fruit or a vegetable, otherwise that meal is not reimbursable. So now they have even more reason to promote the fruits and vegetables. And when they're great tasting and they're local and they can talk about this came from Susie's neighbor down the street, the kids are much more likely to take it. They're less likely to push back and say, I don't want that fruit or vegetable today. And they're much more likely to eat it and not just throw it in the trash.
We grow between 10 and 12 varieties of lettuce, and the school ultimately gets all of that. The whole idea is to feed these kids at the schools, and so we're on the same team. This is my job, and my portion is growing the lettuce and getting it harvested and bringing it, and then they do their part with it. And so as we work together, that team is strengthening.
We had to start them at a very young age, kindergarten, preschool, to try this stuff, because you'd put an apple on the tray, be it local, be it whatever it was, and they wouldn't touch it because they'd never tried it before.
When students have an exposure to food over time, there's a number for that, maybe it's 10 or 11 exposures, they're more likely to self-select that later. And we know that if they're doing that at a younger age, they're building those healthy habits as their brains and bodies are developing. And so the hope is that these things can really change their habits over a lifetime.
When I was one of the schools that received the grant, I was very excited and really jumped into it full force. And I wanted to do different recipe ideas, and the kids really like it. They love to try new things. You'd be surprised, even as far as even the very young fives really like to try the different things that we make.
So Keep Growing Detroit is a nonprofit organization here in the city of Detroit. Our mission is to achieve a food sovereign city, which we define as 50% of all the fruits and vegetables that Detroiters consume would be grown by Detroiters for Detroiters. There are about 125 to 150 schools in the Garden Resource Program this year. We provide support with getting their gardens up and going, as well as building their capacity to take Farm to School as far as we know that it can.
Farm to School is an important program for multiple reasons. Just the seasonality of the vegetables, the nutrient density. I mean, when we think about the travel time from California to Detroit, that I was getting food that already had a chance to degrade for 7 days, versus if it comes out of this hoop house. I mean, we're at a school right now. It can come out of this hoop house and be on the plate in 30 minutes. It can come out of this hoop house and be on a plate of a school on the other side of the district tomorrow. So just like the freshness of the product, the nutrient density, like that piece alone is huge. Us farming our own produce and getting our own produce onto the plate allows us to spend more money on higher quality protein, and therefore the overall meal is more nutrient dense and of higher quality for the students.
So the Farm to School program works well. We do a lot of produce. Obviously, we grow things here in the raised beds. At different times, our food service director is very willing to work with us, and they will actually purchase things from us. For example, in the past, I know we've sold them quite a bit of spinach.
I have the big bed right over there, and we're growing potatoes, cucumbers, beans, a little bit everything, zucchini. You don't know the progress growing underneath the dirt, but then when you pull it up and you see just big potato, it's so fulfilling.
Gardening with the kids is amazing. There's something about, I was gonna say when you're a kid, about seeing something that you grow, but if you're honest, even as an adult, there's a point of pride in, I grew that, I put that seed in some soil, it grew, and now 3 months, 6 months, 2 months later, I'm eating this thing. And you're a little bit more apt to try it and eat it because it's yours. There's a point of pride, and our kids love it, and it just makes for exciting, healthy attitudes about nutrition. So not just eating well, but thinking well about the things that you eat.
It's not hard to get started with Farm to School. It can be daunting, and I understand that and can appreciate that, but starting small is really where it's at. One way to get started is to just purchase some whole, fresh, local foods that don't need to be processed in the kitchen before they go out on the service line. So that can be products like apples, Michigan whole apples, lots of varieties of apples. So there's a lot of interest in those different tastes and a lot of education that can happen around those different tastes. And it can open up kids' palates to understand how different food can taste. So you can start small with one product and grow into trying more and different varieties of products over time.
Best things about the Farm to School program is there's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not kind of a prototype that you have to implement all things in the exact way that another school does. A lot of it is figuring out what's in your region and what works for your school.
So early on, I was really intimidated by Farm to School because Farm to School is, cafeteria, classroom, and community. And it's like, whoa, I can't do all of that. And so I pushed it all aside. And what I realized after a while is like, if I order Michigan apples, I'm doing Farm to School. If I do that one piece, and that's really how I started. I ordered, I was ordering, more local foods, and I was trying to figure out ways. And then I was finding who's enthused about this. Who are my partners that can help me?
As an extension educator with Community Food Systems, one of my jobs is to support schools in the region who are interested in Farm to School, who are interested in building their capacity to serve local foods in their meal programs, interested in educating their students more on local food. I help those folks connect with farmers, figure out how to implement Farm to School programs in their schools and in their cafeterias, and help them connect with resources to support the development of their Farm to School program.
I think it's a very important program for Michigan farmers. It allows us to have a little bit of an advantage to selling to local, and it inspires schools to actually buy from local farmers.
All of that money is going to support farmers. It's going to purchase food from farmers that we need to support because, they're going to go out of business, or they're not going to continue on to the next generation because it's not necessarily a viable thing to grow, 100 acres of carrots unless you have a reliable place to sell that food.
I deal directly with schools statewide to help them get local food right into their buildings. It, generally speaking, all starts with an apple. Apples are the easiest gateway into a Farm to School program. From there, we typically build into either an IQF program, independently quick frozen, so that's frozen fruits and vegetables. It is just so very easy to take the frozen peas and carrots that you are going to be serving anyway and buying them from Michigan instead.
My name is Brandon. I started a small batch processing company, and it's our job to kind of fill gaps in the supply chain and help extend the growing season for growers around the state of Michigan and now beyond. It's not as if we needed to solve this big mystery. We know what makes people healthier. We know that people should eat more vegetables, and we have them growing here. It's just about getting product to the children that deserve it.
At the end of the day, I want to be able to go back and say, all right, we did that. And it's programs like 10 cents a meal. It's programs like Farm to School that help me with that. That's why you get up in the morning.
I think Farm to School is central to a healthy child and a healthy school. When you've got staff eating beautiful food alongside students and maybe real flowers on the table, students know that they're cared for, and that's everything.